What are some healthy signs of communication between you and your partner? Are you a good communicator? Is your partner a good communicator? Have you been exposed to it in your life? We're going to get into that today. So make sure you grab a pencil, take mental notes, and let's get into it. Hello, welcome back to another video. If you are here today for the first time and you follow faith-based motherhood, single motherhood in general, then that's the type of videos that I post and post around that topic. So make sure you click that subscribe button, like this video below too. In today's video, I want to talk about something that I wish I learned a long time ago, and I'm continually growing in each day, and that is the topic of healthy communication. Throughout my life, I lacked healthy role models to help guide me and shape what healthy communication is. I didn't grow up with that in my household. When you're raised in and living in an environment where people are always angry and emotions go wild and harsh words are always exchanged and directness and bluntness is needed to get your point across and for your voice to be heard, is extremely hard and difficult for you to imagine yourself being on a more calmer level or expecting it from other people. You subconsciously expect every person to be the same and to have the same motives, and it creates in you this tough exterior that actually shuts people out instead of inviting people in. And while all of this is happening in my life from childhood to adulthood and what I know it to be and what it has normalized to be in my life, I then meet my boyfriend, Andrew. And to be completely honest, my world was entirely turned upside down in that regard to what healthy communication actually looks like between two people and between two partners. He's sensitive to my wants and my needs. He's extremely thoughtful and he thinks before he speaks. He also communicates in a way that is extremely respectful to me, and it encourages me to do the same for him. When I see him operate in this way and I see him treat other people that way too, it makes me feel extremely safe, comfortable, and empowered to tell him how I feel, knowing that he doesn't have any other motive than to be there for me, and that it genuinely comes from a place of love and care for me. This made me realize how extremely important communication is from the get-go, from the very beginning in the dating phase to the marriage phase, of how important healthy communication is in the overall health and longevity of a relationship. It matters. It's actually one of the most important things between you and your partner. And this even bleeds into the ways that you communicate with your friends, your family, your children. All this being said, this is for the woman who has not been exposed to healthy communication, doesn't know what that looks like, and doesn't know what to look out for in the right partner who will respect you and love you and communicate with you and has a general standard of respect across the board for you. You deserve that. So let's get into some signs of what healthy communication looks like, what to look out for, but also how to be that kind of person to your partner too. So before I talk about what I've learned through my relationship, through my own research, through like my life experiences, I want to put out a disclaimer. I am not a therapist or a counselor. I am only sharing my experiences and how I've matured and learned along the way through my experiences what healthy communication looks and feels like. Okay? So I am not a therapist. I am not a specialist in this. I am only sharing my experiences and what I've learned, what I've grown to learn through my faith journey, but also through my relationship with the help of my partner who is great at communication. So let's get into it. 10 signs of healthy communication with your partner. Number 1 is that there is an expectation of respect and love that is carried in any conversation, good or bad, between both people. James 1:19-20 says, "Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger, for the anger of man does not produce the righteousness of God." The Bible is clear on how we should be communicating with other people. Essentially, what it's saying is that you should be treating people and loving people the way that you want to be treated and loved. And that means, given the characteristics of what I just read, we are quick to hear, slow to speak, slow in anger. God describes what love is. That is what love is, and that's how we should be treating our partner, regardless of what the conversation is going to be like or what the conversation is. You should always come in with the general understanding of, I love this person, I care about this person, and we are talking about something heavy or we are talking about something lighthearted, but essentially I am going to treat this person with respect because I care about them. 1 Corinthians 13:4-8 says, love is patient and kind. Love does not envy or boast. It is not arrogant or rude. It does not insist on its own way. It is not irritable or resentful. It does not rejoice at wrongdoing, but rejoices with the truth. Love bears all things, believes all things, hopes all things, endures all things. Love never ends. As for prophecies, they will pass away. As for tongues, they will cease. As for knowledge, it will pass away. I encourage you, if communication isn't your strong suit, to remember these verses and to understand that this is what love is. And it translates into everything in your life. And when you do this successfully, or you keep this in your mind and you continually work on your communication skills, not only to your partner, but to your friends, your family, and your kids, it's going to bleed over into the lives of other people in your life. They're going to look up to you for the healthy communication that you express. It's going to produce fruit in your life where you will see how it affects other people when you communicate in the right way. The second sign of healthy communication in a partnership is when your approach to conflict isn't me versus you, but it's us versus the problem. In healthy communication, the outlier isn't your partner, and it's important to communicate in that way. When you approach conflict like us versus the problem, you're signaling to your partner that, hey, we're on the same team here. I am on your team, you are on mine. It's just a matter of strategizing and addressing what the problem is and how we can overcome and resolve it and get on the same page again. Because at the end of the day, you matter, I care about you, and that thing is the outlier. The third sign is a pretty big one, and I think it makes or breaks relationships sometimes. So number 3 is you and your partner are intentional on how things are said just as much as the information you're trying to get across. This right here is a game changer. So this one was 100% taught to me by my boyfriend. He is very good at sandwiching information and relaying it in a loving and beautiful way. And I'm not saying I don't do the same thing, but I am saying it's something that I'm still working on. If you are from New York City, if you are from, I'm just gonna say, if you're from New York City, you probably come from a very direct household. You probably come from, like, it doesn't matter how things are said. It just matters that you get your point across, and we don't always do it like that, but we do it like that. So it's something that I'm still working on, but that I totally agree with. And this is a sign and a very, very important aspect to healthy communication, not just with your partner, but also with your family, your friends, your kids. It's important to sandwich the information that you want to deliver to the person in a way that is well received and that will land well for them. And that may look different for everyone, right? But you should always approach it in the standard of love and respect for the person. And again, going back to the second point, us versus the problem, not me versus you. 1 Corinthians 16:4 says, do all things in love. And what does that mean? Do all. That's an absolute, all things in love. Approach all situations in love, and especially in communication, right? So I encourage you that if this is not something that you at least keep in the back of your mind when you are talking to people or communicating, to see, like, what's the best approach for me to sandwich my information, sandwich how I feel in a way that's well received, but also getting my point across. It's not about sugarcoating it, but it is about how you choose to express that information or express that feeling, so that the person's actually hearing what you have to say and not the emotion or the anger or the frustration behind what you're saying. The fourth sign of healthy communication in a partnership is that you recognize if one person is bothered about something, then you both are bothered by something by default. My counselor actually told me about this, and she's 100% right. If you choose to share your life with someone, if you are choosing, this is the person that I want to share my burdens with, my happy moments, my sad moments, my entire life, we're merging two lives into one, then that means that we are both carrying each other's burdens. If your partner is bothered by something, if something doesn't hit them the right way, if something is making them feel any type of way, it becomes your concern too, as a loving partner, as someone who made the decision to be like, hey, I am in your life for the long haul and I want to ride this out with you. You are choosing and you are making a commitment to be by their sides, the up, the downs, the in-betweens, all of it. And that in turn means that if something is a problem for them, something is also a problem for you too. Number 5 is that you and your partner are willing to bend. There's always going to be, to some extent, the fact that there is tension because there are two sinners under one household or sharing one life together where it's going to cause some type of friction. But what makes this less challenging is when both parties come into it knowing that there's going to be an adjustment, knowing that there's going to be a compromise, so that you both are walking in unison together. There is a bending and adjusting of things in your life that you have to do. It's inevitable. You have to do it if you are choosing to merge your life with someone else's life. That isn't easy, and it's more difficult to do if you're set in your ways and if you are not willing to bend or adjust or compromise anything. We are already complex people as it is, our thoughts, our mind. So it is, and it makes sense if someone else comes into our life that we have to do a little bit of adjusting. It may be a little bit uncomfortable. There has to be a lot of discussion around it, but the goal is to walk in unison, not to live two different lives, especially if this is your life partner. It's not okay to think that you're gonna find someone and you're just gonna plug them right into your life. It's not gonna work out that way, and it's not beneficial to either one of you to do that. So this is a sign that there's healthy communication when both parties are on the same page about walking in unison and what that looks like for them, and always having a discussion about it and are willing to bend and adapt to each other's needs. The 6th sign of healthy communication within a partnership is that you are aware of their triggers and they are aware of yours. When you and your partner are sensitive to this, you both approach a conversation or a discussion making sure that your partner feels safe, in that when you guys are discussing something that may be touchy-feely, depending on the trigger that they may have, you're coming from a place of, listen, this is me and you versus the problem. This is me and you versus the outlier. This is not between me and you to see who's right and who's wrong. When you're communicating like this, you're communicating for care of their heart. And going back to one of my other points, you're sandwiching it in a way where you're expressing it with love and with care, and you're signaling to them that we are on the same team, and that's what's most important. So knowing their triggers and being aware of it, and also being careful not to touch it in a way where it triggers them even more, is extremely healthy, and showing them how much you love them. Number 7, I also think is important. I actually think all of these are important, but I think number 7 is especially important too. And it's this. Number 7 is that you remind each other, even in the midst of conflict, that you love each other. And this is one of my favorites because Andrew does this all the time, and it's something that I really do appreciate and love about him. And let's explain why it's important to do this. This is the thing that broke down my walls in my communication with him and getting to know him and feeling safe and comfortable in talking to him. no matter the topic of discussion, whether it's a lighthearted one or a heavy topic, he always approaches it in a way where it's loving and that he makes me feel safe and comfortable in telling him how I feel. Because it is not, like I said, and I keep repeating this always, it's not me versus him. It is us versus the problem. And he makes sure to let me know in the midst of any type of conversation that we have that, hey, I love you, I care about you, I value your thoughts, I consider them, I take them into consideration, and I execute on them. And I love that quality about him, and I just know that that is extremely healthy sign of communication in general, but especially in a romantic relationship. And it's something that I want to emphasize. Always being reminded that we are a team and that he loves and he cares about me. Like, those are the things that make me feel encouraged to do the same. So again, remind each other, even in the midst of tension, that you love each other with hugs and kisses, with words of affirmation. I think this is a really important one. I think I said sign 3 is an important one, but this one is actually really important too, to always do that with your partner and let them know and help them feel safe and comfortable in you, again, packaging the way that you express how you feel, but also letting them know, like, hey, we are on the same team at the end of the day, and this is just us versus that outlier over there. The 8th sign of healthy communication in a partnership is when you are both parties are acting in selfless communication, when you are seeking to outserve each other in every aspect of your life. This is a pretty big one for me, and one that I'm extremely fortunate to have in my partner. I am a giver by nature, and sometimes that can come at the expense of myself, and I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. With the right person and giving to the right person who also is seeking to give to you is honestly a beautiful thing, and the fruit that comes from that is amazing. It really is. I am a mother, I'm a hard worker, I am always trying to achieve some type of goal. I have like a lot of things that I want to achieve, a lot of hobbies that I have, and I'm always looking to serve and to give in other areas of my life, from my kids to my family to everything. So it's important that you find someone who is always willing to outserve you. And I say that because if you guys are both coming from a place of, I want to give this person everything that they desire and want, and I want to always come from a place of love and respect, and when you have that foundation, it's a beautiful relationship, and it's one where you know you're being taken care of, and you also know that that person's always being taken care of because they're always expressing that to you. And yeah, so that's a really good sign of being in a healthy relationship, and also communicating. And there's different ways to communicate. It's not just words of affirmation, but it's actions, it's being thoughtful, it's listening to them, it's being with them in the midst of any circumstance that may happen in their life. And that those are just selfless acts of communication and ways to show the person, like, hey, we are in this together, we are walking in unison, your problems are my problems, it is us versus the problem. And it's just, when you walk and operate in that way as a couple, you are actually walking as one flesh. And I'm talking about marriage here, but also it starts in the dating phase too. The 9th sign of healthy communication is that you're always checking in on each other, and that you are always asking them what's on their mind and how you can support them or what you can do better of, and just leaving the floor open for them to express how they feel. I think that's important because we don't always share how we feel. And a lot of times when you come into a relationship where you truly care about this person and you want to be an asset to their life and a resource, and you want to be there and supportive of them and be their rock for them to lean on you, like, you tend, probably naturally, and this is for me too, you tend to lean towards, like, I don't want to put my burdens onto you. So it's always important to check in with your partner to see, like, how they're feeling about something, even though they seem happy. Even though it seems like they have nothing on their mind, you never know. And they'll probably never express it if you don't pull it out of them too. So it's important to leave space and to hold space and to slow down sometimes and ask them, hey, what's on your mind? How can I help you? How can I support you? Is there anything I can do differently? How can I adjust a little bit to make sure that you feel comfortable and safe as much as I feel comfortable and safe with you? So that's extremely important. Number 10, and probably the most important one, to be honest, so this should probably be number 1, is that you and your partner should be extremely, extremely, extremely intentional on keeping your relationship Christ-centered. Everything that I talked about from 1 to 9 are things that I learned through scripture, are things that I've learned through Andrew and the way that he communicates, and from how he communicates. He learned that through scripture, through his faith journey, through having role models that express healthy communication in his life, right? And his personality too. So it's just important to keep Christ in the center, because he is the one to demonstrate love and what love actually is for us. There are so many scriptures that touch on how to treat people the way that they should be treated, how to operate in love. And I'll put the verses that I spoke about already, but I'll also add a couple more verses that you should meditate on if this is an area of improvement for you or something that you want to remember in finding a partner who will operate in healthy communication with you. I'll have a couple or a few Bible verses or hyperlinks down below for you to take note of or to copy or keep mindful of. So yeah, so these are just some signs, and I know I list 10, that's a lot, but there are other signs of healthy communication out there between you and your partner. If you're out there and you're wondering, is this even possible? Is it possible to get into a relationship? Because honestly, I felt the same way at one point. Is it possible to get into a relationship with someone who will treat me with love and respect the way that I should be treated, not just like my idea of what I've normalized throughout my life, but someone who truly cares and is sensitive to my wants and needs? Just let me tell you, coming from the environment that I came from, that it's definitely possible. I also want to say that healthy communication takes work. It is based on so many different factors, from your upbringing to your fears and triggers to your preferences and your habits. You will feel like you're being stretched in the areas that you need to improve on, but it is necessary in your growth to healthy communication. It's necessary to learning how to express your love and your care and how to treat people with love and respect, to your partner, to your kids, to your family, and to your friends. And though it can be hard and there are some challenges that will come up given the many factors that it takes to operate in healthy communication, it is definitely worth it, and it is definitely biblical. And remember, this is not only for your romantic partner, but it's the way that God wants us to operate in communication. He wants us to communicate and express ourselves in love. I hope this video blessed you and encouraged you, and that you were able to pull valuable information from this video. I hope that I have, at the very least, helped you understand what healthy communication looks like. If you have not been exposed to it, if that is something that you're seeking, these are the things that I would say please hold on to vet a person, to vet a partner, because it is extremely important. You don't want to not have this present in your relationship for the long haul, especially if you are thinking of making this person your life partner, making this person your spouse. So again, I hope this video blessed you, and I hope you have a blessed Christmas as well, because we're right around the corner. And I will see you in the next video on Wednesday. Bye.